My parents didn't bring a cake to my 25th birthday dinner. They brought a 3-ring binder. As I sat at the head of the table in the private dining room of a restaurant I was paying for, I looked around at the faces staring back at me. There was my older sister Chloe, the perpetual golden child, dabbing her eyes with a silk handkerchief. There were my 2 cousins, looking solemn and rehearsed. There was my best friend of 15 years, Sarah, and my ex-boyfriend, Mark, whom I hadn't seen in 3 months. My mother didn't sing happy birthday. She didn't even look at the expensive appetizers I'd ordered. She looked me dead in the eye, placed her hand on that binder, and said, "Maya, we're here because your success is an addiction, and it's destroying this family." That was the moment I realized the people I loved weren't celebrating my life. They were mourning their lack of control over it. By midnight, 6 chairs at that table were empty, and for the first time in 25 years, my life was finally clean. 1 o'clock to understand how my own birthday turned into a scripted ambush. You have to understand the Miller family hierarchy. Growing up in the suburbs of Connecticut, there were very specific roles we were expected to play. Chloe was the masterpiece. She followed the script perfectly. She married a corporate lawyer, had the aesthetic kids that looked great in Christmas cards, and constantly leaned on my parents for bridge loans to maintain a lifestyle she couldn't afford. Then there was me. I was the difficult one, the obsessive one, simply because I wanted a career that didn't involve waiting for a man to provide. I started a boutique marketing firm from my studio apartment 3 years ago. I worked 20-hour days. I skipped vacations. While Chloe was posting photos of her brunch, I was cold calling CEOs. 2 o'clock by my 25th birthday, that hard work had finally paid off. I had just landed a 7-figure contract with a national retail chain. I had traded my beat-up sedan for a sleek, dark SUV. I was finally breathing. I thought this dinner would be the moment my parents finally said, "We're proud of you. Maya, you did it on your own." I wanted them to see that the difficult daughter had become the provider. But as I looked at the binder on the table, I realized they didn't see a successful woman. They saw a daughter who no longer needed them. And in my family, if you don't need them, you are a threat to the status quo. My mother opened the binder and I saw bank statements, social media printouts, and a typed list of concerns. 3 o'clock, we've noticed a change in you. Maya, my father started, his voice thick with a fake, practiced empathy. The money, the car, it's changed your spirit. You're cold. You're never available for family Sunday dinners anymore. You've become addicted to the hustle, and it's making you forget where you came from. I looked at Sarah, my best friend, expecting her to roll her eyes at the absurdity. Instead, she looked at the floor. That was the first crack in the foundation. I felt a cold chill run down my spine as I realized this wasn't just a parental lecture. This was a coordinated strike. My parents had spent weeks gathering these people, poisoning their minds, and preparing to stage a public intervention for a problem that was actually just my independence. They spent the next 20 minutes sharing their truth. My mother went first, claiming my work schedule was a form of self-harm. Then Chloe chimed in, weeping about how my new persona made her feel abandoned during her second pregnancy. She actually had the nerve to say that my refusal to babysit on Tuesday nights, because I was running a company, was a sign that I had lost my values. I sat there stone-faced, watching the people I had supported, lent money to and defended for years, take turns tearing down my character. They wanted me to cry. They wanted me to break down and promise to slow down, which really meant give us more of your time and money. But as Chloe kept talking, I felt something shift inside me. The hurt vanished, replaced by a crystalline, predatory clarity. "Is it my success that bothers you, Chloe?" I asked, my voice terrifyingly calm. "Or is it the fact that the bridge loans Dad gives you are starting to run dry because he's worried I won't bail him out when he retires?" The table went silent. My mother gasped, and Chloe's tears stopped instantly, replaced by a look of pure venom. I realized then that my father had been tracking my spending through a joint savings account I'd opened when I was 16 and completely forgotten to close. He had been monitoring my business growth, not out of pride, but to calculate exactly how much he could squeeze out of me to keep Chloe's failing lifestyle afloat. They weren't worried about my soul. They were worried about their bankroll. 6 o'clock, I turned to Sarah. "And you, Sarah? You're here because you're worried about me?" Sarah stammered, talking about how I wasn't the same girl from high school. I looked at her phone sitting on the table, buzzing with a text message. I recognized the name on the screen. It was Mark, my ex-boyfriend, who was sitting right across from her. I looked from the phone to their guilty faces. "You're not here for an intervention," I said, a dark laugh bubbling up. "You're here because you both need to feel like I'm the unstable one, so you don't have to feel guilty about the fact that you've been sleeping together for the last 6 months." The gasps around the table were audible now. The carefully constructed intervention was beginning to fracture. 7 o'clock, Mark tried to stand up, tried to play the victim, claiming I had emasculated him by always being the one to pay for dinner, by being too busy for his needs. He actually said that his cheating was a cry for help because I was wedded to my desk. I didn't yell. I didn't throw wine. I simply reached into my designer bag, the one they all judged me for buying, and pulled out a manila envelope. I slid it across the table toward him. "That's not a birthday card, Mark," I said. "It's a formal notice of a lawsuit. I know about the $20,000 you borrowed from my business account while you had the password to my home office. I was going to let it go because I loved you. But since we're being honest tonight, I think it's time the authorities heard your truth." The color drained from Mark's face so fast I thought he might faint. My father tried to intervene, shouting that family and friends don't sue each other, but I wasn't finished. I turned to my cousins, the two who had stayed quiet, nodding along to the insults. "And you two," I said, my voice dropping an octave. "I know you've been using my corporate login to access my client list. I know you're trying to launch a copycat agency using my proprietary data. My IT department flagged your IP addresses a week ago. I was going to give you a warning because we're family. But family doesn't sit at a table and tell me I'm mentally ill because I've outpaced them." The room was thick with a heavy, suffocating silence. The interventionists were now looking at each other, the alliances they had formed against me crumbling under the weight of their own secrets. My mother began to wail, a high-pitched performative sound claiming I was attacking everyone. I stood up, looking down at the binder, the evidence of my supposed downfall. I realized that these 6 people were the anchors dragging me down into the mud of mediocrity. They didn't want the best for me. They wanted the old version of me, the one who was easy to manage, the one who didn't ask questions, the one who lived in the shadow of the golden child. "This dinner is over," I said, signaling the waiter. "And so is my involvement in any of your lives." My father scoffed, telling me I was being dramatic and that I'd be calling them by Monday when I calmed down. He reminded me that family is all you have. I looked at him and smiled. A real smile, the first one of the night. "Actually, Dad, you're wrong. I have the summer house." His face went pale. "See, for tax reasons, my father had insisted on years ago, the deed to the family's beach property was in my name. He had told me it was a gift, but I knew it was a shield. I'm putting it on the market tomorrow," I said. "I suggest Chloe starts looking for a smaller place for her kids, because I'm sure you'll need to sell your house to pay her back for all those loans now that my addiction is no longer funding your retirement." I walked out of that restaurant as the shouting started. I didn't look back to see who was crying or who was chasing after me. I got into my car, the one they hated, and sat in the silence. My phone was blowing up with texts, insults, apologies, threats, all of them coming in a frantic wave. I didn't read them. I went to my contacts, and one by one, I blocked all 6 of them. 6 relationships ended before the cake was even cut. It was the most expensive birthday dinner of my life, and yet, as I drove away from the restaurant and toward my quiet, successful future, I realized it was the best bargain I'd ever made. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was spectacular. Without my financial cushion and the summer house asset, my parents' house of cards collapsed. Chloe had to move into a rental, and she hasn't spoken to me since, mostly because she's too busy working a job she hates to pay off her own debts. Sarah and Mark's romance didn't survive the stress of his legal fees. My cousin's business folded before it even started because no one in the industry would touch them after I put out the word. I lost a family that night, but I found my peace. I'm sitting at a table now. It's my 26th birthday. There's no binder. There's no intervention. There are no people here who want to see me fail so they can feel better about their own stagnation. There's just a small cake, a quiet room, and the best gift I ever gave myself. The courage to be the villain in a story written by people who never deserved to be the heroes. Sometimes, the only way to win the game is to stop playing by their rules. I used to think success was about the numbers in my bank account. Now I know success is the ability to sit at a table and know that everyone sitting there actually wants you to be there. If you've ever had to walk away from a toxic family to find your own peace, drop a red hot in the comments. You aren't alone, and I promise you, the silence is beautiful.